to put operating expenses as a bondable expense, I will vote on it. I will object to the bills, not only in committee, I'll object to the bills on the calendar, and if the veto, I will vote to sustain the governor's veto. Now, we're supposed to be leaders in this state relative to the financial future of this state. And yet, here we are. We're going to let 3 school boards bond operating money. I can't say enough about what a mistake this is.
Senator Spartanburg, what purpose do you ask?
See if the senator from Aiken would yield for a couple of questions.
Certainly.
I was going to ask a parliamentary inquiry, but I'm sure you can answer my question. The first question I have is, when this veto comes back, and I just received the veto message, and it says, highlighted in bold, once again, there has to be a reason why a governor vetoes something, so it's highlighted in bold, so I'm going to read that part. Did you know that it says, we should not fund short-term operational costs with long-term debt backed by taxpayers? Having disastrous effects in other states like California, such financing schemes are simply unsustainable. Did you know that the veto message said that?
Senator, I have my own internal veto message, okay? And I'm telling you what it is. This doesn't pass the business test. It doesn't pass the government test. Now, I'll give it a pass because we have what's called local legislation that we've looked at in the past, i.e. snow days, okay? We don't look at it totally as relative to the number of days people need to attend school. Okay, so we don't vote on individual snow days. And we don't vote on individual county issues. But I'm telling you what, this impacts the state of South Carolina in our financial ratings, and in the future, I will vote on these.
My other question is, and maybe the desk can help this, and maybe you can answer, when this roll is called today, is this a statewide bill where every senator's name should be called?
Senator, I think, I thought local legislation was unconstitutional, okay? And that I thought that in the past, veto messages referenced local legislation, and that's the reason many governors vetoed issues. But I don't know, you know, you'd have to ask the desk, Senator.
Ask parliamentary inquiry. Is this a statewide bill that when you call the roll, are you going to call the roll of the entire Senate or just a specific delegation?
The entire Senate.
Okay, so by voting present, you're basically turning a blind eye to the taxpayer.
Senator, I am appalled that we are doing this, okay? And if it happened in my county, I would vote against it. You wouldn't be looking at this bill if it were looking at Aiken County. But I think that I'm going to lay out the marker that in the future, if this happens, I'm voting on that legislation, and I will vote against using any bonding, borrowing to take care of short-term operating expenses. Basically having the kids and our grandkids pay for the operations of the schools in these 3 counties. And I think the other one, I don't know if it's come back to us or not. Maybe it already has come back in the veto message I missed, but this one I didn't.
Okay. Well, I just want to know, and one more question for you before I sit down. Could this potentially happen again? Could this be every county doing something like this in the future?
Well, I think if you let it happen,
okay.
If you let it happen. Right. But I think if you join me and enough of us join together, it doesn't happen again.
I'm going to join partially today.
Here's the other issue, okay? I can't tell what the history of this bill was, but I believe it probably had to come through Finance Committee. These bills shouldn't get out of committee. They shouldn't get out of committee.
You may be right, but did you know I'm only going to join you partially today? Because I'm here, and I'm going to vote yes or no. I'm not going to vote present.
And that's your right, Senator.
Senator Charles and Senator Campson, what purpose do you ask?
Senator, did you know that I think there's a distinction between this and the snow days? Well, first of all, did you know there's a distinction between this and local legislation? Did you know that? And it's this. The Constitution specifically gives the General Assembly, not a particular county delegation, but the General Assembly, the responsibility to provide for